Hello everybody and welcome to today's video. And today we're going to be digitizing the week's oh my god, sorry about that. Today we're going to be colouring in and putting in the textures of the digital version of this week's mutant animal drawing. This is again a request from the Art Hutch over on Instagram, and again guys, if you don't already know, my name is Blut084, BLUT084, Art and Games. I'm here every single day on YouTube, occasionally on Mixer, but every day and night over on Instagram. And I don't just draw guys, I also play a few games. I've got VR games, we've got PlayStation games, Xbox games, and a whole load more coming from the PC. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button and leave a like if you do enjoy my streams. And this one isn't streamed, unfortunately. This one has been recorded. So if you are a fan of what I get up to on this app called Critter, which is completely free, so if you guys do want to get this for yourself, leave me a comment down below and let me know where you're from, and if you've got a request for a theme, because every month has its own theme, and we're coming to the end as this is the final week for the Mutant Animal series. January's over, February's coming. I don't know what I'm going to be creating, so challenge me guys, let me know. But without further ado, let's get going. Let's have a look what we did last time, because last time we only put down the basic colours, the basic idea, what we want to do, and the sort of just general basics. But the fluff and the orange for the cat, because it's a mixture of a whale, a pussycat, and a duck. As you can hopefully, I've got all those bits of animal in there. I've put as much as I could of each. The whale is just basically a big old whale shape with the tail, so that's why I've kept the tail there. Giving it fur, start of fur effect on the legs and there, and giving it nails like a putty cat, and giving it wings, but they're not wings as such. They are flippers, which I'm trying to get correct. So I might have a look at the whale's flippers and see if I can sort of get them looking like. With the tail part of the wing, the tail part of the flipper with like a winged feathery type thing. And then we've got the breast and the neck of the duck, and then we go back into the cat again with a duck's eye patch and a beak with a nose at the end. Some people say it looks like a fox, and I tend to agree that yeah, it looks like a fox, but it's a pretty cat, so that's what it is. Hopefully you will enjoy this one guys, and leave a like if you do. I'm going to get the comic story going in the background like I always do, because we'll be listening to Aquaman while I do the aquamarine machine animal. We've also got a few textures, and we'll be putting shading in for this thing here, which is the DWC, which is duck, whale and cat observation machine. I'm not sure if it's going to be a camera or if it's just going to stay as is and it's a little ship. I like the way it is, and on the paper version I put a light effect behind the animal itself, which is what I'm going to do here, but I'll do it a whole lot better on the digital version than I will on the paper version. So keep tuned guys, keep listening, and fast forward if you want to get to the good bits.
Audiobook version of your favorite comic books so that you know what is going on and are able to go by the next issues. We've been covering Aquaman for a while, and if you remember the ending to the Aquaman Kingslayer storyline, well, Aquaman kind of screwed up and Atlantis was risen out of the waters. Well, what does that mean for the entire world? Well, they see Atlantis as a warring nation here to combat against them, and it's time to send in the Suicide Squad to sink them again. Enjoy. Sink Atlantis.
It's a sunny day on the eastern coast. The beach is packed with people enjoying a little downtime. In the distance, the waters begin to rise as a great city pushes upwards from the depths of the ocean. As it breaks the surface, the great tidal waves begin to crash down against the coastline. Their fun forgotten, everybody begins to scream and run in fear. Atlantis has risen! Later, the military aircraft streak by as Mara stands on her balcony, overlooking her kingdom. She is not queen yet, but the coronation is soon. Her attendants are moving in a hurry, trying to prepare everything for the ceremony, yet Mara has other things on her mind. It would be different if they were still hidden beneath the ocean waves. Now, however, they are here on the surface for the world to see. The governments of the surface world are preparing. Tension is as high as every side is waiting for someone to make the first move. To calm them, Mara has invited the delegates from the surface world to her coronation, hoping that they will see it as a sign of good faith. But the world of man is often divided, something that Arthur Curry knows well. In the ninth tribe, the deepest part of Atlantis, the part of the city that still is underwater, Volko has found the former king. He has listened to the jets flying overhead all day. It is his fault that Atlantis has risen, that Mara has been placed into this diplomatic situation. He does not want the sight of a failed king to distract the people at her coronation. Arthur knows that the surface world has always feared them. He knows that Mara wishes for peace, but he has always protected her, no matter what. In Washington, D.C., the White House is full of uptight men and women in suits, talking about their fear of Atlantis. They're a foreign nation that has just invaded and sent a highly destructive tidal wave into our territory. We're just going to do what? Wave at them and ask if they need help? Admiral Meddinghouse is ranting from the head of the table. But the president doesn't have much interest in angering a nation that is an army of sea monsters. They're keeping the diplomatic channels open and intend on sending an ambassador to the coronation ceremony. Can't you see that this is an invasion? The admiral yells. But no one is interested in listening, and the meeting comes to an end. But as Amanda Waller prepares to slip out quietly, she is stopped by that admiral. Amanda, a word. Later. Oh God, I hate flying. Not flying, Harl. This is a submarine. Phew, well, that's a relief. Amanda comes in all business. It's a quick brief. Atlantis has risen from the depths. It's the Suicide Squad's job to put it back where it belongs. The United States government does not want a war with Atlantis. So the usual drill. If you're caught, you're just insane supervillains on another dull-witted plot. I resent that, Harley Quinn huffs. But the squad isn't at full strength. They don't have Katana, Boomerang, or Enchantress, and Croc's kind of been in a mood. So Waller introduces the team to their newest members. Lord Satanus, a sorcerer carrying a magical bomb that will put Atlantis back to the bottom of the ocean. Hey Floyd, do you think this guy says his name as Satin Anus? I think so. Welcome to the Suicide Squad, pal. Waller barks for everyone to quiet down. To get them into Atlantis will be the Master Jailer, an expert at breaking and entering. Never met a lock he can't crack. The squad needs to get to the silent school, plant the bomb, and get out. Simple. They have someone on the inside to guide them. Everyone suits up and they're out into the water. The squad slips inside the corpse of a massive whale, and using his magic, Lord Satanus reanimates the creature, and they begin to float towards Atlantis. Back on the sub, Amanda is reporting to Admiral Meddinghouse. She is confident that the squad will complete their job. You better be, or you and your Task Force X are finished, the Admiral threatens. He has some dirt on Amanda, secrets that she doesn't want to get out. The zombie whale manages to get the squad inside of Atlantis' defenses. Finally finding the sewage pipe that will grant them access to the inner city, they disembark. In the throne room, the coronation ceremony has begun, with Mara being crowned Queen of Atlantis. Below in the ninth tribe, Arthur waits. His friends are trying to convince him to go up to the throne room to see his love crowned. Yet Arthur believes his place is below, where he can watch, in case someone does something stupid. In the sewers, the squad is met with Ursel. She's an Atlantean who believes that Atlantis should be below the ocean. She will lead them to the Silent School. She shows them the refugees that have hidden in the depths of Atlantis, those that do not wish to be above the surface of the ocean. Hold up, Deadshot sighs. The squad questions him. How much damage does it take to sink a city? He explains as he takes the magical bomb from Lord Satanus, who laughs at Floyd's morals. I don't kill kids! Checking the bomb, Floyd realizes what they've actually brought. It's not magic, it's a nuke. We're not here to sink Atlantis. We're going to destroy it. Back in the throne room, Mara is trying to get used to the feeling of being a queen. Perhaps a day or two of reflection, one of her attendants suggests. But Mara knows that the world will not wait. She will meet with the US delegates privately in the afternoon. Her first act as queen must be for her people. Many were injured in Atlantis' rise to the surface. Aid must be rendered, and please find out where the hell Arthur is. Arthur, though, would be found speaking with Merc, head of Atlantis security. How close are the American forces? He questions. They surround Atlantis with submarines off the coast, planes overhead, and a fleet task force massing in the Atlantic. Yet Arthur knows that this is merely a show of force. If they are to strike, it will be in secret. Black Ops, surgical. I want to know everything that you see, any hint of infiltration, Arthur informs him. We can't let Mara know. The less she knows, the better. Below the surface, the squad is still dealing with the fact they brought a nuke into an ancient city. Ursel is angry. She wanted to effect a regime change, not destroy Atlantis. This is the mission, lady. Deal with it. Killer Croc snarls as he grabs her arm, but Uracell pulls a weapon, firing into the man-beast. Get off me, reptile! The two begin to fight as the refugees flee. Question on the stealth part of the stealth mission? Harley raises her hand. Where do we stand on the blasty shooting this with our guns? Lord Satanus doesn't care, he just wants to finish the mission, but Harley won't let him and cracks him across the helmet. A flash of magical energy picks her up and throws her across the room. Put me down, you double douche, she screams. Meanwhile, Deadshot and Master Jailer are trying to pull Killer Croc and Ursula apart. Above them, security has become aware of the shots fired within the 9th Tribe, so Merc tries to keep it quiet, making a call to Arthur. Harley struggles to her feet while the fight continues around her. Stop shouting and wrestling! It's gonna bring in trouble with the capital Aquaman! The former king of Atlantis arrives with his friends Dolphin, Jurek, and Undyne. He wastes no time launching an attack on Deadshot. Jurek swings his axe, doing battle with Croc. Knocking out Undyne, Master Jailer manages to grab Uracell and escape in the commotion. Deadshot's bullets bounce off of Aquaman's skin, and he simply asks, "Who sent you?" "I'm not here to shoot and tell." "The hard way then," he states grimly, as another punch knocks Floyd across the room. Harley tries to fight Dolphin, but is blinded by her powers and is captured by Undyne. They now have 2 prisoners, but the rest have managed to get away. Croc, Jailer, and Satanus have Uracell, and they're planning to take the bomb to the Silent School. But it gets worse. Mara knows about what happened. In security, she glares down at Merc while he tries to radio to Arthur. Later, "What the hell were you thinking?" Mara questions Arthur, while the two of them look at Harley and Deadshot in a cell. "I was trying to give you deniability," Arthur answers. But Mara is queen now, and she gets to make those kinds of decisions. Arthur has dealt with the Suicide Squad before. He knows what they are. "Let me contact King Shark. His gang rules the turf. They'll find them." But Mara is against using unsanctioned criminals for this matter. My queen," Merc cuts in, as he's analyzed the security footage and discovered the bomb that the squad was carrying. "Radiation levels are off the chart." Mara's face becomes a mask of anger. "This is an invasion!" she glares. Arthur agrees, but the US will deny it. If you retaliate against them, you will be seen as the aggressor. Mara agrees they need a Black Ops team of their own, so she orders Arthur to go see King Shark. "We need the worst of the worst." Later, everyone stands around while Harley recaps the events that have led Deadshot and her to be captured by the Atlanteans. Puzzled, she suddenly looks around the room. "Hey Deadshot, how long have these guys been listening?" "The whole time, Harl." "Oops." Merc looks on, slightly stunned. He planned.
Do not press skip if you value your fingers.
We cannot just hurt people.
I see it. We can do whatever we want. Venom. Download and keep now.
Planned on torturing the prisoners, but now he doesn't need to. The dry mouths are getting stupider and stupider. Merc continues to question them, with Harley continuing to give up information without any real product. "Release us, we can help," Deadshot offers. "As team leader, I have access to the brain bombs." Merc argues. "Why would I release those that came to murder us?" Behind them, Queen Mara enters the room and she orders their release. They are in just as much danger as everyone else now. They will help. Down in the depths of the 9th Tribe, Aquaman is recruiting the aid of King Shark. The large beast man sits on his throne surrounded by beautiful Atlanteans, his teeth ripping through the body of a fish while he speaks. "You want King Shark's help?" Aquaman stands before him. It worked in the past. If Atlantis sinks, the 9th Tribe will be destroyed, and King Shark and his people along with it. Shark doesn't seem to care though, but his interest is piqued when Arthur mentions the Suicide Squad. Speaking of the squad, Satanus, Master Jailer, and Croc are continuing to the Silent School, with Croc's claws wrapping around the neck of Uracell, now their unwilling captive. Master Jailer just wants to finish the mission so that he can return to his daughter. Croc just wants to pain the end, and Satanus wants to reclaim his glory of being a powerful sorcerer. Suddenly angered, Croc throws the villain against the wall. "You're here because Enchantress isn't. You're a wannabe, a substitute. You're second-rate and you know it," he snarls, with Satanus pushing him away. "You'll pay for that slur once we're done." None of that matters though, for they have now reached the Silent School, and standing before them is a massive monster fish. Its teeth stand taller than most of the squad. The creature dives towards them, with the squad jumping away. Only Croc stands unmoved. His hands shoot up, grabbing onto the teeth of the beast, one snapping off in his hands. Suddenly, Croc is gone, swallowed up in one gulp, its rider turning towards the rest of the squad prepared to finish the job. The fish's scales split as its jagged, broken teeth thrust out from within its body. The rider is impaled with his blood leaking into the fine mist of the waters around him. Croc rips his way free. "No more guard dog. The rest of the squad takes a moment. Moving forward, Master Jailer begins to work on the door that blocks them from the silent school while monologuing. He was always good with locks, he just figures out how the gears work and turns them. With an audible click, the lock on the door opens. Jailer has always been good at stealing, but he never wanted to kill anyone. "I just wanted to look after my kid," he states sadly as the doors begin to slide open. The squad swims past him with Urcel offering Satanus all of the magical weapons hidden within the silent school, as long as he spares Atlantis. He retrieves a spear, its magical energies flowing through him. "The Needlefish Bane! It is 1,000 years old," Urcel explains. But the school doesn't have just a few magical items. Within the core vault, it contains the most powerful magical weapons at Atlantis' arsenal. And she offers these to Satanus. In response, Satanus turns and pierces her stomach with the Needlefish Bane. "Congratulations, your tale is now complete." He viciously kicks her away, with Jailer and Croc standing stunned. Satanus then turns on his teammates. They will deliver the bomb to the core vault, destroying the city and unleashing the magic trapped within there. Satanus will regain his full power. The group is interrupted though, when Arthur Curry arrives. Kingshot, Deadshot, and Harley now joined with his other friends, and the two teams collide in battle. King Shark moves against Killer Croc, with the two beasts fighting for supremacy. Arthur and his friends fight against Satanus, but the sorcerer's powers have grown stronger, surrounded by Atlantean magic. He quickly tosses them away. Grabbing Jailer by the arm, he moves deeper into the silent school, searching for the core vault. Aquaman moves to pursue, but he smashes into the magical barrier that Satanus has erected. The barrier is blocking them, and Deadshot can't blow the brain bombs. "The magic is disrupting everything," he curses. "We can't just stand here and wait for Atlantis to be destroyed. Someone must be able to do something," Aquaman yells. He's stunned to see Dolphin on the other side of the barrier though, the mute woman floating towards them. "You have to find a way to break the barrier," Aquaman pleads. Dolphin closes her eyes in sadness. "How am I supposed to do that, you big ganoosh?" Harley translates for the mute woman. They know that the only one who can stop Satanus now is Dolphin. "He's too powerful. You can't do this alone," Arthur tells her, with tears in her eyes. Dolphin turns and speeds after Satanus, leaving Arthur to pound on the barrier, calling for her, calling her name, knowing this is the end. "She says she loves you," Harley translates to the stunned Arthur. In the throne room of Atlantis, Queen Mara is meeting with the delegates from the United States. She wishes for Atlantis and America to be allies, which the ambassador agrees. Mara doesn't believe them though, since a strike team has been sent to destroy Atlantis. The ambassador is stunned by this news. Mara explains to them now that the seas have been ordered to rise up and wait for her word. If Atlantis falls, so does the US. Deeper in the core vault, Master Jailer has opened the final door for Satanus. The room is a massive storehouse of magical items. But Jailer just wants to go. There's no need to set off the nuke. The Atlanteans who die in the blast will fuel Satanus' powers, restoring him to his full potential. And he sets the timer for 5 minutes. Nothing can stop us now. Dolphin comes barreling into the room from behind them, and she knocks the men aside with the bomb falling out of Satanus' grasp. The two begin to fight as the Jailer watches from a distance. Not wanting to be a part of this, he turns and he swims out the door. Back behind the barrier though, King Shark and Killer Croc are still fighting. Teeth sink into flesh as both creatures' bloods begin to mix within the waters around them. Croc's body is flung into the barrier, interrupting the rest of the group's discussion on how to destroy it. Jailer finally comes swimming back, yelling for everyone to get clear. "Let me out," he yells. But they can't. But maybe he can. "Come on, Jailer, you can open anything. Remember that big-ass door from the last issue?" Harley points out, but this is magic, it's different. So Aquaman steps forward. "Master Jailer, I know the world sees you as a villain, but at this moment we need you to be a hero." Arthur states it plainly, so the Jailer uses his powers, manipulating the inner workings of the magical barrier, and it seems to melt before their eyes. "Thanks, Carl." Aquaman then swims fast for Satanus. Dolphin is holding her own against him, slipping past his spear thrusts and slamming his head into the wall. Her magic stuns him, and he moves in for the final blow. But Aquaman is behind him, with his fist slamming him off balance. Aquaman pushes through the magical assault, ordering Deadshot to deactivate the bomb. Yet Croc already has it, and he isn't letting it go. 1 minute left on the timer, but you're still gonna have to pry it from my dead cold hands. Croc is still sad about the death of Enchantress. He just wants to die. Aquaman and Satanus continue their battle during the melodrama, with Harley trying to talk to Croc. "We all miss Enchantress, and I know that we're just a group of supervillains with bombs in our heads, but we're also friends. Come on, this is a quality level of therapy you're getting here, Croc." Croc hands over the bomb. "So, I got the bomb, now what?" Aquaman throws another mighty punch and he snaps the Needlefish Bane, with Satanus staying down. The group has the bomb, but it has less than a minute left on it. Even Aquaman can't swim it out of the city fast enough. Undyne suggests throwing it inside of one of the ancient king's chests, but there's no key to lock it, so Master Jailer steps up. I can open anything, and I can also keep anything shut, he points out. Carl grabs the bomb, opening the container, and he puts it inside. Everyone needs to stand back. The blast might kill everyone in the room. Using his powers, Carl holds the chest shut. Carly, when you get out, tell my daughter. Tell her what I did. Carl looks up as the timer reaches 0. Tell her I went out like a reel. His words are cut off as the blast erupts. The rest of the group watches stunned as, even with it in the container, Master Jailer is vaporized. Hero, right? He was gonna say hero? Not hopeless chump? Later, in the throne room, Queen Mara knows that America and Atlantis still stand on the brink of war. They can't prove that the Suicide Squad was ordered by the US to sink the city. The whole point is we're deniable, disavowed, Deadshot points out. So Harley suddenly remembers the super secret mission that Amanda Waller gave to her. Pulling free a microchip, she offers it to Mara. Talking with the American delegate later, Mara offers a solution to end the conflict between the nations. She hands over evidence that Admiral Meddinghouse went rogue and ordered the Suicide Squad to attack Atlantis. With this evidence, Meddinghouse is quickly arrested for acts of war. Waller watches from the shadows as the man is taken into custody. You made sure I had that recording, Mara comments behind her. But Waller couldn't deny or confirm it, even if she wanted to. The two women talk. Both run kingdoms in their own ways, and Waller believes that they should talk together from time to time, learn each other's methods. Talking is always good, Mara agrees. Your Majesty, not talking is suicide. We have sunk Atlantis. Sploosh! It is sunk. And that's how I get to play Subnautica. It's a great game I play on twitch.tv/eligible Why am I giving myself a Subnautica plug? Because twitch.tv/eligible is where I play video games, and we do a lot of comic book podcasting. So Sunday, Mondays, and Thursdays are comic book podcasting, and various mornings I play Subnautica and Final Fantasy XIV, and we do Warframe on the weekends. So come check us out over at twitch.tv/eligible. Now, as for Aquaman, which, you know, sploosh. Sploosh. Anyway, as for Aquaman, we're going to be doing the final story in the current timeline. We're going to get you fully caught up in Aquaman next week or the week after, depending how our schedule works. So make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, so that you get notifications whenever this happens by hitting that little bell. Be like, yo, I want to get comic story notifications. Don't worry, I won't bomb you with stuff. I just put out like 7 videos a week, and we just do like one comment as a notification.
Okay, that's enough plugging yourself, mate.
We would really appreciate it if you just turn them on. And next week or the week after, we'll be covering Drowned Earth, in which Aquaman's got...
Okay, we're getting another one. Just give me a second.
Do not press skip if you value your fingers.
Hopefully this is another Aquaman.
Hey guys, there's a Thor movie that came out and supposedly it's amazing. Now at the
No, this is a Thor. Give me a second, guys, while I sort this out. I'm not using my normal process.
It's so funny.
Welcome to the Complete Stories series, where I take...
Okay, I'm going to stop that there. Yeah, you got rocket packs. I was going to say, you can get across that one there. Okay, my son's playing Steep, which I played yesterday, and he's chatting to me at the moment, guys.
Hello.
What were you saying to me, Matt?
Hmm?
What were you saying to me?
Don't know.
No, okay, you're not. You're jabbering. Okay, right. We'll get back to where we were. But before I do, guys, let's have a quick explanation of what I've done so far. Well, you can see what I've done so far. I put in some fur effect. I'm not completely happy with it, but I can always change tones and change colours and all sorts of good stuff to come yet with that one. But once I fluffed out the face of it and the little one up here, maybe that'll look a bit better. I need to do the legs, and it's going to be friggin' hard because it's all going to be fur. Fur and bent legs are not easy to draw, but I'll have my good go. If not, I'll just do my best and sort of hide it with other things like I normally do with other textures. But yeah, I've used that particular texture tool, and that texture tool here is called it's just called texture hair. There you go. So yeah, that's what I put in, a bit of hair. I'm going to be doing the legs, the face still, and I'm going to be putting a bit more texture on the feathers because, as you can see, I've gone over them a couple of times, especially in the mid section of the wings, or the wing flippers. Still need to sort of look up the whale to see what a whale's flipper looks like, really, for texture. But yeah, I'm going to carry on doing what I'm doing. Hopefully you're enjoying it, and keep watching as I do.
Trade paperbacks and single issues and break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. I then read them dramatically back to you, giving you a sort of audiobook version of comic books where you can see what's going on. And this allows you to keep up with your favorite comic books so that you can go out and buy the next issues and know exactly what is going on. Now, in order to tell you what is going on with Aquaman, we need to tell you how he basically saved Atlantis. And is he the king? Is the queen going to be Mera? What happened to Kormrath? Well, we've been building up to this storyline for the last month and a half since the Aquaman movie came out. And this is it, the grand finale to the revival of Atlantis. So check out the playlist down below if you're joining us for the first time. But now it is finally time to bring you Aquaman, the Kingslayer.
In our last video involving Aquaman, Arthur was successful in rallying the gangs of the Ninth Tribe to fight against their common enemy, King Wrath. After attacking the Silent School directly, Arthur brought down the Crown of Thorns, allowing him to bring Mera to the surface after she was poisoned by magic. She then went on her own journey to gain the allies within Zevel to join her in the battle against King Wrath. And now, with Atlantis free, it is time for Arthur to put an end to Wrath once and for all. But before we can get to that, we should tell you where it all began. Many years ago, Wrath found himself watching his father as he toiled and worked to build the foundations of Atlantis. He was Hadalin of the Ninth Tribe, and he was proud of what he did. He wore the brand of House Atlan to show his devotion, but all the work for the Hyde Tribe brought him nothing more than an early grave. He died without strength nor respect of his royal masters, still believing that his offspring would make Atlantis great. Well, take a look now, father. But still, even as king, Wrath is surrounded by idiots. The barrier is gone, leaving Atlantis exposed to their enemies, all because his council couldn't even hold back a band of lowlifes. Back then, his father would have beat him because he was weak. He would try and help, but every time he accidentally dropped a stone and broke it, his father would lash out. But being in the Ninth Tribe, you begin to see what the sea can do to a person. Sea changed? No, they call them taint bloods, wretched mutants, altered by the sea. He loathed most of them because even though they were Atlanteans, they accepted their underwater exile, and now Aquaman leads them in a rebellion? The man Merc was supposedly able to kill? Arthur Curry should be dead. The half-breed was a weakling who struggled to find balance between the land and the sea. Arthur was too scared to use Atlantis' magic, and now all of those around him have stiffened with the fear at the sight of it. Atlantis needs someone who won't flinch, someone who will make them strong. He will start by burning away Arthur Curry. Even now his friends conspire in secret, turning against him. He has but only one ally remaining, Cadaver. While they were young, they would gaze up at the stars and he would tell Cadaver that one day, those towers would rise out of the ocean so that they may rule the world. Cadaver would laugh, stating that the only way that would happen is if the gods of the sea answered the prayers of the poor, lowly Hadalin. Cadaver was magically adept, and he would hone his skills in the stone pits because the magisters of the Silent School would never accept someone like him as a pupil. He never received the formal training that he deserved, and the Silent School failed. Magister Loke has great power, but is too timid to use it. It's time that the Silent School had a new master. Wrath reaches out to Cadaver, telling him to take off his mask. Cadaver pauses, but as he takes it off, Wrath tells him, "Good. There's no reason to hide anymore. We are not outcasts. We are not Hadalin scum. This is the future that we dreamed about when we were children. The future where all the lords and the kings bow to us." Later at the Silent School, Wrath arrives and Magister Loke says that this is an unexpected visit. They're still repairing the damage done by the rebel raid. Wrath tells him the damage was done by him. You will let the undercurrent do this. This time no more spells, no more charms. It is time to open up the well. Loke says that is out of the question, and with much great respect, it is too dangerous for any man to do. Wrath looks at Cadaver, telling him that it is treason for someone to refuse a direct order from the king. Without a word, Cadaver uses his magic to conjure Coral Reef, striking down all of the magisters, including Loke himself. Wrath watches, thinking that this is why he kept Cadaver around in secret. He does not hesitate. He needs someone dangerous, someone with the guise to use proper power without remorse. Wrath then leads Cadaver down into the ancient vault, stating what the Silent School was doing was merely scratching the surface of magic. Down here is the real power. The wellspring of all Atlantean sorceries rests behind these doors. This is the true secret the school has always protected. Power that the Highborn Kings locked away. He was never able to use it, but maybe someone as powerful as him. Cadaver casts his magic, breaking down the giant doors, and the white and black light wash over them. A voice calls out asking who opens these doors. Wrath steps forward, stating that it is he, King Wrath, and he wants what is rightfully his, the raw power of the Abyssal Dark, the divine source of all Atlantean magic. The Abyssal Dark asks if he's certain. Kings have shunned him for a long time. He made them great, but they grew afraid of the power. Wrath tells him that he is certain. A new age is dawning. The Abyssal Dark says that by all means, take it. The Abyssal Dark bestows both Wrath and Cadaver with great magic, with Wrath smiling. He then shakes Cadaver's hand, stating that they did it. Everything that they've ever dreamed of. As Wrath grips, he feels Cadaver's hand change and slip out of his grasp. Cadaver's entire body transforms into some kind of undead monster, with Wrath shouting, asking, "What is this?" The Abyssal Dark tells Wrath that Atlanteans worshipped the gods of the sea, but in truth, the demons of the sea are much more powerful. This is the power that you wanted. Mastery over the Abyssal Dark gives one command over all things. See your oldest friend? At the slightest touch, he became totally obedient. All willpower washes away. That is power, King. Cadaver kneels down, stating hail to the King of always. Wrath pauses and says, yes, thank you. That will be all. The Abyssal Dark then asks, what will the king do now? And Wrath says that he will eradicate all of those that oppose him. First the consul, then Aquaman. A short while later, over the 9th Tride, Vice and King Shark fight back with the drift, and just as the tide is turning in their favor, Shark notices something. Just then, Cadaver lunges out, stating that this defiance ends. In the name of the king, you will perish. The drift soldiers stop, asking if that is Cadaver. What the hell happened to him? Another says that if Lord King sent him to help, praise be. But the gods can't bear to even look at him. Cadaver tells the soldiers that he comes so that they may hear the king's voice. And through Cadaver, Wrath tells the soldiers that he has sent this instrument to assist them in the persecution of their enemies. Stand fast and destroy the rebel scum. The captain then says, please, we are spent and beaten from the conflict. How can we fight on? And Wrath yells, I shall strengthen you then. I will share with you the power that I have imbued in my instrument, Cadaver. Cadaver waves his hand, releasing the dark magic into the water, turning all of the drift soldiers into undead monsters. Same as Cadaver. The drift begin to slaughter the rebellion, and just before they can get to Bice, Shark swims by, grabbing him. Bice shouts, damn it! We're no safer here than we were over there. Fighting the Mad King is one thing, but we can't fend off magics like this. Just before Cadaver could strike, Arthur rips into Cadaver with his trident, shouting, and I will send Cadaver back to hell. Arthur tears through hordes of undead, telling Bice and Shark to get their men ready. I will keep the devils busy. Bice yells that they can't leave Aquaman to face this alone, but Shark tells them that the trident is the only type of magic that can hurt these things. Break off now! Arthur cuts down another wave, and just then he's struck by a blast. He starts to pick himself back up, but Murk floats close over to him, telling him that by the order of his majesty, King Wrath, Aquaman shall die. Back at the royal palace, Wrath watches the battle between Arthur and Murk, stating, all is well. My throne will be secure. My gratitude to you, my ancient friend. The Abyssal Dark says, I have been shut away for far too long. I am glad that a king with wisdom has released me. It is time to lend you my full power to the cause so that Atlantis may be restored to glory. Wrath tells him, I appreciate you, but wait, what is this? Wrath looks at himself in the mirror and his face begins to change, transforming into the same as Cadaver. He begins to shout, what horror is this? And the Abyssal Dark tells him, the inevitable transmutation. You wanted power. Such things do not come free. As the darkness begins to surround Wrath, he yells, I cannot become some taint blood, please! Just then, the very foundation of Atlantis begins to shake, and Wrath asks what's happening. Why is there an earthquake? The Abyssal Dark tells him, oh, be still. The tremors will ease. Atlantis is shifting. It approves your actions and urges you to do more. Wrath pauses and then says that if Atlantis itself trembles at my might, then I will press on and bring the darkness down. Back in the 9th, Murk swings at Arthur, telling him that he shouldn't have come back. Arthur strikes back, asking, come back? You're the one who murdered me. Murk knocks Arthur back, telling him, I never wanted you dead. I even came to like you, but you were a poor king, far too focused on everything but the people of Atlantis. Arthur asks, you faked it? Gods, I couldn't have figured out how I survived. Murk tells him, I didn't want you dead. I just didn't want you to be king. I made it look like an execution. So the elders would consent. Spine eel venom made you appear dead. Figured you might just leave and go back to the surface and live your life out in peace. So why come back? Why the hell did you? Arthur kicks Merc in the chest, shouting, because I had no choice. Look around. Look at what Wrath is doing. The two go back and forth, exchanging blow for blow until Arthur finally knocks Merc down into a rock formation. Merc coughs, stating, go on then. Better to be dead than live in this hell. Arthur thrusts his trident down, but he stops right before Merc's throat, telling him, I didn't come back for the throne. Merc asks, what? Arthur goes on telling him, I just want Atlantis to be free from this horror. Isn't that what you want? To save the people? Wrath can still be stopped. You are still the commander of the King's Guard. Get me close to Wrath. Merc asks. And then, Arthur reaches down to help him up, telling him, we stop Wrath. Together. Back at the royal palace, Elder Liat and the other council gather to discuss their current situation, and Liat says the time has come. Are they all agreed? The other council members then state that they support the removal at once. Liat looks at Urcel, telling him, see, this isn't a coup. This is all legal due process. We will remove Wrath just as we did that weakling Curry. Urcel says that Wrath won't like this, but when he understands that all of the city, including the Elder Council, is withdrawing their support, he must relinquish the throne. Urcel and Liat lead the charge into Wrath's chambers, calling out to him. Thinking nothing, the Drift soldiers begin to look around, and just then, everyone is electrocuted. Wrath steps out fully transformed into a sea monster, stating, oh hi, elders! I don't think you really understand what power is. A short while later at the palace gates, Merc comes up telling one of the guards to step aside. He's bringing a prisoner in. The guard looks at Arthur and cuffs and yells, Triton's teeth! You've captured Aquaman! The king will make fine sport of this. Arthur breaks the chains, grabbing the guard with Merc shouting, oh no! What will we ever do? Arthur then takes out the rest of the guards as Merc opens the gates and says, make sure not to get any heroic ideas. Arthur asks what that's supposed to mean, and Merc tells him anything like suddenly having compassion. Wrath is Hadeland scum. If given a chance, kill him. Arthur pauses and says, wait, don't you think he should stand trial? Merc tells him, Wrath will not surrender the throne or himself. He needs to die. But don't fret, Angelfish. You'll be the one to take him out. Arthur asks, I'm not sure, assassination? And Merc scoffs, telling him, that's what I meant by heroic. Don't flinch. A kill shot against an enemy is the best way to help the rebels. The two continue to make their way through the inner workings of the palace, when Arthur heads off to get into position. As he thinks about what Merc said about killing Wrath, he hears someone calling out to him. He hurries over to see Urcel beaten and battered, and as she bumps into him, she screams for him to get away. Arthur grabs her, telling her to be still. Does she not know who he is? And she starts laughing, stating, of course she does. She's been wishing him dead for weeks, but it hardly matters. He's killing everyone. Arthur asks who? Merc? And Urcel shouts, no, Wrath! Quorum, Wrath! He's not human anymore! Over in the throne room, Merc arrives to it destroyed, asking, Lord King? And he sees Liat's body floating, with Wrath telling him, yes, Elder Liat and the others, they displeased me. They tried to take the throne. Can you imagine that, Merc? Merc asks, what would you have him do? And Wrath tells him, you are such a devoted servant, always dutifully serving your king. Except today I am not the king you serve. Merc calls out to Wrath, stating that he doesn't understand what he means. He only serves the throne. And Wrath bursts through the wall, stabbing into Merc, shouting, liar! After throwing his body to the ground, Wrath pushes over a pillar, asking, does it hurt? Merc groans as he tries to crawl away, but Wrath holds out his hands as he gathers power, stating, behold, a gift that will take away that pain. Now close your. But just then, Arthur shouts to Merc to run away as he uses the trident to push Wrath back. Wrath punches Arthur off, stating, it is the false king. How delicious you've come back. He then uses the dark magic to pin Arthur down, telling him, you stay right there. Heed the abyssal dark. Blister his soul. And please scream if you need to. As Arthur screams out in pain, Merc leans up quietly, stating, you idiot. I warned you not to hesitate. Now we're both going to die. Meanwhile, over at the Atlantean Royal Treasury, Volko says that this is it. Just follow Dolphin's Luminesce. Shark asks what are they doing in the old crypt. Their men are. But Volko stops him, yelling, here! These fishers! They weren't here last time! Shark shouts, telling him to go on with it. Why are they here when Cadaver could be upon them any second? Undyne says that she's pretty sure they're exactly where they need to be. Just then a ghostly voice calls out to Volko. Oh, my old friend, you have returned. A faceless specter floats through the wall with Volko shouting, Elder Null! Times are desperate, my friend. I thank you for giving me the royal trident before, but now I ask that the ancient specters help me against Wrath himself. Null tells him, "Dear friend, I'm afraid there's nothing we can do. The Shades here are sworn to protect Atlantis, and for better or for worse, Wrath is Atlantis. Sadly, you are on your own." Over at the throne room, Wrath stands over Arthur, stating, "The great hero, reduced to the role of a villainous assassin, here to murder a man. But behold, I am not a man." Arthur climbs out of the debris asking, What the hell happened to you?" Before Wrath can answer, a blade shoots out from his chest and then is ripped out, with Merc yelling, "Leave him be, you sea-chased freak!" Wrath covers the wound, telling him, "That hurt." Merc asks, "Oh yeah? Just wait till you feel." Wrath's tentacles lash out, grabbing Merc, stabbing through his body. And using his other hand, Wrath grabs and tears at Merc's bladed arm. He lets go of Merc's body, allowing it to bleed out, with Arthur using the power of the trident to blast Wrath through the wall, shouting, "You bastard!" Arthur hurries over to Merc and Merc asks, "Did you kill him?" And Arthur tells him, "No." Merc yells, "Then go finish the job!" But Arthur picks him up, telling him, "There's no time, you're bleeding out." Merc groans, telling him, "Forget about me and kill the beast." Arthur tells him he can't. His power is on a whole new level. We need to regroup and figure out what we're dealing with. Merc doesn't respond, and Arthur just shouts, "Merc! Merc!" Down in the catacombs, Voco asks Null, "Why can't you help? After everything we've risked to get here?" And Null tells him, "I'm sorry, and I wish we could, but our kind was created by the Silent School. When we died, we pledged our afterlives to eternity to safeguard the kingdom. Wrath is the king, and we are magically bound from raising a hand against him." Just then, Shark and Dolphin notice something, and when they turn back, they see Cadaver and a horde of undead drift swimming towards them. Over in the king's royal chambers, Wrath calls out to anyone, asking if they're there. As no one answers, he says that he just wanted Atlantis returned to its former glory. The Abyssal Dark slithers out, telling Wrath, "Get up! Your wounds have already healed." Wrath says, "It would seem that you're still here. I was beginning to think you a liar. Such fine promises you made. But I am a king hunted in my own palace, my dream." The Abyssal Dark stops him, telling him, "Your dream was too small. The Atlanteans are a stubborn race. They don't have the courage to realize their full potential. They never did. The path? Do you see how it will end if you persist?" Wrath begins to see an army of undead raging war on Atlantis, and the Abyssal Dark telling him, "The deathless forces locked in a war with the rebels, a kingdom consumed by war. You will triumph, yes, but you will triumph over ruins. Atlantis will not survive this conflict. That is why we must bring it all down. Destroy Atlantis so that we may move on to take the seat at a greater throne. One that rules over the entire world." Later, over at the Tower of Widowhood, Arthur and Bice watch over Merc as the Sisterhood attempts to save his life even after having his arm ripped off. Seta says that they fled the palace, and Arthur says they had no choice. Merc was dying. Bice tells him that that might not have been the best choice. Old Merc will probably still die, but he's a soldier and he understands sacrifice, but that fight is worth it, that is. Seta leans in, telling Arthur that he wasted his chance to end Wrath because of some weak, sentimental attachment to Merc. That bleeding heart is what made you a bad king. This compassion, this mercy, it's a crippling weakness. I cannot fight for one life. How can I fight as all? Besides, I took my best shot. I used all the power the Trident had, and it still wasn't enough. He became impossibly powerful. Seta steps back, stating, "Oh great gods," and just then Volko calls out, "Don't give up, old girl!" Everyone looks back to see Volko holding Cadaver's head, and he goes on stating, "Behold, Cadaver is dead. Really, actually dead. Against the odds, my little band has found a way to fight Wrath's unholy magic." Undyne says that he isn't lying either. There's someone that they should all meet. Elder Null and the rest of the specters float out, with Volko stating that this is Elder Null and some of, my friends. Don't be alarmed. The Elder and his companions are spectral guardians of the treasury. They've committed their souls to defending Atlantis. Null tells Arthur that he greets the Lord King, and Arthur says that he is not king, though. Null says that he is more king than Gorm Wrath is. Volko then yells that that's the trick to it. The Shades are bound to serve the king, but Wrath isn't king anymore. He's an instrument of the dark. And once the Shades saw what kind of forbidden power Wrath's minions were wielding, Shark burst out laughing, stating, "You should have seen it. The Shades turned on Cadaver in his drift and tore them apart." Bice says that he doesn't like this one bit, but they suppose that to stop someone from using magic, they're gonna have to use magic themselves. Seta says that Bice is right. This is reckless. The Abyssal Dark is the oldest magic, the wellspring of all Atlantean sorcery. Null stops her, telling her, "Not so. The history has lied to you. The Dark trades in lies. It twists the truth so that men would believe that they are tempted to join the Dark. But the Abyssal Dark is a demon that stalked Atlantis since the beginning of time." Null goes on stating that Wrath heard the demon's whispers and released it. He's in its thrall. Arthur then says that Seta and Bice are right. They're playing with forces that they barely understand. He already used every scrap of power the Trident has, but just then Null and the other specters begin to imbue the Trident with their power.
The independence in the way you study gave you courage to do more. The open universe.
Stating that they will share their protective magic. If he truly believes in the strength of Atlantis, it will be effective. Now, they. But before he could finish, there's an explosion as Wrath comes in to raise the Widowhood Towers. Arthur rushes out to stop Wrath, and Wrath asks, "Oh, you've come to try your luck again? I can't be stopped, Aquaman!" Arthur stabs the trident into his chest, telling him, "This will be the last time." Wrath smacks Arthur away, asking, "Is that it?" But then Wrath rips the trident out of himself, snaps it in half, shouting, "Your magics are nothing to the Abyssal Dark. All of you are lost." Wrath picks up Arthur by the neck, telling him, "Your unbreakable trident is shattered, and now I will shatter Atlantis and sink it into the abyss." As Wrath begins to strike, Dolphin swims up to try and help Arthur, but ends up being smacked away by one of Wrath's tentacles. The Abyssal Dark tells Wrath to come, no more delays. Topple the Widowhood's tower, collapse the sacred heart of this city. Wrath begins to make his way inside, and Volko shouts to Seta that they must go. But Seta stands their ground, telling him, no, she will not leave her home. Volko tries to swim to her, but Undyne pulls him back, stating, "Come on, old man, we have to leave." Seta starts to quietly recite the old prayers, and Wrath tells her, "Those prayers are worthless. Neptune isn't listening. I am a god now." Wrath begins to wind up to strike, but before he can, he's struck in the back by a blue light. Mara comes riding in with the Zevel Legion, shouting, "The reign of Coram Wrath is over." Arthur hears Mara's voice, and as he gets back up, he weakly holds Dolphin's hand, telling her that he has to go help, even if they can't win. He begins to pick up the broken trident, stating, "You have to get clear of this place. Save anyone you can and go." Wrath attacks Mara, telling her that he has already slain the false king. A false queen is a mere afterthought. As the Zevel forces rush in to aid her, Volko and the others grab weapons as they can and begin to join the battle. With Wrath's forces focused on everyone else, Mara takes Orm's trident, jumping off the giant Octodon. And as she gets closer, Wrath notices Mara's smiling. Why is she smiling? In that moment of hesitation, Arthur takes the broken trident, stabbing it into Wrath's eye. And Mara tells him, "Oh, no reason." Wrath struggles to throw Arthur off, but Arthur grips tighter, telling him, "I have to thank you. Because of you, Atlantis is united in ways that I could never do. From the highest rise to the depths, even Zevel, for God's sakes. We all have a common enemy." Before Arthur could drive the rib further, Mara calls out to him, telling him that he has to pull back. As the trident is pulled out, the Abyssal Dark seeps out, asking, "Where will I go? It's cold out here." "Damn you, Arthur Curry! I am lost and scattered to the tides. You have won, but not as you expected. I was the only thing preventing this. Now your wish is coming true. Remember, you asked for this." Mara asks, "What did that mean?" And Arthur says, "I don't know. The demon's gone and only Wrath remains." Mara gets ready to strike, but Arthur tells her, "Wait. Using my aqua telepathy, I can tell you that Wrath has become more fish than man, more sea-touched than the people of the Ninth. In his quest for power, he seems to have allowed himself to become the thing that he hated the most, a creature of the deep. May he find solace in that fact." As Wrath slowly swims away, Mara watches and says, "Gods, I almost pity him." With Wrath gone, the people of Atlantis cheer in victory, and Arthur grabs Mara, stating, he can't. But Mara tells him, "Don't talk, just kiss her already." As they do, Arthur pulls back, asking, "Is that Orm's trident?" And she tells him, "Yeah, went in a fight." But what did the demon mean? "Your wish is granted. It seems more than just an empty taunt." But just then the seafloor rumbles and it shakes, and it begins to launch all of Atlantis upward. Shark asks what is going on. Is Atlantis sinking after everything that they've done? And Arthur tells him no. "Oh no! I know what this is! When I stood with the Justice League, armored in the magical 10th metal, I made a wish, my deepest desire. I longed for a place where I could live the life that I wanted. Somewhere that exists between my two worlds, a place of sea and land." As the sun begins to shine on the surface risen city, Mara asks, "Arthur, what have you done?" And Arthur says, "Forgive me. It seems I have raised all of Atlantis."
Now, you may have been watching my channel for a little while now, and you may know that this desk is what I have used for, like 6 months to do intros and outros on. We also do our podcast on Saturdays right here on this set, Comics Experiment, and if you go to our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/EligibleMonster, we film everything on this set and then upload it to our Patreon, patreon.com/comicstorian. Two great ways you can support us if you really like what we're doing and you want to help us continue to make more great content for you. But you may be wondering, Benny, why is the Aquaman and the grand finale of your Aquaman video, the one that you've been building up to for 6 weeks, why was this wonderful Aquaman statue that you can buy at the DCComics.com website not here? And that's Spider-Man with Gwenpool on there. You want to know why? My producer failed me. So I want all of you who are watching this right now to say, Dan, you have failed this channel. Okay? We're going to do this in the theming of comic book and comicdom. You have failed this channel. Dan, you have failed this channel. And Gary is looking at Dan going, haha, I knew. I'm saying he didn't. So also add to it, Gary and Dan have failed this channel. Okay? Anyway, if you enjoy the insane hijinks of us hanging out here on this channel, subscribe, because we do a lot of things here. We do these complete stories, we do these top 10s, we do these podcast things where the whole crew hangs out and has a great time. And you can also find us over at our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/eligiblemonster. And if you really want a lot of behind the scenes, then go over to their Patreon, patreon.com/comicstorian. Either way, we're at the end of this video, guys. Thank you so much for enjoying it. We are not done with our Aquaman coverage. We're going to be bringing you Sink Atlantis, I can't say it, Sink Atlantis is coming in a week or two, and immediately following that will be the Drowned Earth storyline, getting you all caught up on Aquaman. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time right here.
Well, indeed, guys. Or you can keep watching and keep listening, because I always listen to Comic Historian. If it's not Comic Historian, then it's Comics Explained.
Hello?
What's going on here?
That information.
Have you ever wondered where Shazam and Black Adam even came from?
Ugh, now I have to get up again. Not doing Shazam yet, but we will be doing a Shazam video, guys.
We trade paperbacks and single issues, and we break.
We'll be doing another Shazam video, so don't forget, if you are a fan of any kind of comic hero, you can request me do a video on a particular hero, and I will do so. But I'm going to find another Aquaman video, because, well, I think what I've done is I've gone back over what I've already listened to. So what I'm going to do is try and find something that is in the same playlist. If that's actually in the same playlist. Let's go back to Aquaman and find where I was. Done there, done there, done that one, that one, that one. Let's have this. But before I do, I'll tell you what I've been doing. So yeah, we've done the face here. We've done all the fluffiness. I've really tried to get some sort of decent tone on there, just so you can see it sort of as it's zoomed out. I'm trying to get rid of all the dark line, the outline lines that I've been putting there as well. The only outlines I'll probably leave is around the wings here, as obviously the wings aren't fluffy. They're going to be like wings, which is going to be really difficult because I don't know which tool I used last time when I did, what was it called? The parrot on the first video of the Mutant Animal series. We've still got shading to put on the tail, and we've got loads of other little bits of shading. I'm not going to be doing much shading on fur because that's why I've been doing extra different colours in each one. Darker shade underneath and then a lighter tone on top, and then another tone on top of that to give it like the ginger fur, which is it's a ginger puss cat. So that's what I'm trying to go with here. I'm going to try and put some more details in, but my fur still needs work, as you probably can tell, but I don't think it's looking too bad for a fur effect. I might give it another flick over with like maybe this again, but we'll see how that goes really, because it does need something, I think, but maybe just full on giving it the odd touch here and there like I am. I still want this to be sort of coming out of the sea, looking fluffy, but it's not going to be super fluffy because it's in the sea. I don't want to change it too much, but yeah, these tools, guys, they do work if you know what you're doing with them. I'm still quite new to all of this, as you probably can tell, but if you are enjoying it, like I said, my name's Blut084, BLUT084, Art and Games, and I'm here every single day on YouTube, occasionally on Mixer, which I may be there tonight, but I'll probably be playing Steep again on the PS4. Playing a little bit more of that tonight, because normally I'd be over on Mixer playing GTA, and I've kind of got bored of that. So we're going a bit further in do another game really. I feel like playing something else, and that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be playing Steep, which is a snowbound game. It's actually a really good game. If you're a fan of any kind of snowboarding game, XX Tricky and things like that from back along, you'll really like this one. I know I do. I was playing it a little bit yesterday, and it's one of the first videos on my channel that you can actually see me while I'm playing something on the PlayStation. Adding in the tones here, putting what it needs to be in. We'll go back to that level. Get rid of some of these dark outlines. I'm trying to get rid of them, but they're not going anywhere. I don't want to put too much orange in, but it does need the tone. I will go back over the eyepiece again as well. Try and get these outlines on the actual outline. Not so bad when it's here, but when it's on outside, when I'm trying to get a fluffy edge, it's actually more harder than you would think. And it's working. I can turn down the opacity, as you've seen I'm doing there. That is a really, really handy thing to be able to do. Opacity basically means if you were using a pencil, it just means it's how hard you would push down. But when it comes to the computers, it's a handy tool. There we go. It's a bit of fluff in there as well. It's looking a bit better. But that'll do. I'm not going to bother too much about the small one here because he's off in the back in distance. I'll give him his ear colour actually. Go back to where I was. So now a smidge bigger, like that. And then we can colour in the ear. Again, I'm trying to keep it to as close to the animals as they are, but how can you really have a cat and a duck mixed together and not make it look strange? And that's kind of the idea of the mutant animals. It was kind of a challenge for me to see if I could combine 3 animals. I don't think I've done too badly on some of the animals. Let me know what you think of them. Definitely go and check them out in the Mutant Animals series playlist. This is the final and the last one that I'll be doing with the mutant animals. So again, let me know if you've got a request or if you've got a challenge for me. I'd love to hear your challenges. Let me know in the comment section down below, or come over to Instagram, Bloot084, same name, different place.
We've been bringing you a lot of Aquaman storylines from DC Rebirth, but one consistent through all of these storylines is that Atlantis is not happy with the decisions that their king is making. So, what does Atlantis truly want? And is it even King Arthur? In our last video, the Aquamarines asked for help from Arthur when an Antarctic research base went offline. Inside of that base, the substance known as H2.0 is changing people with great fears into the creature known as Dead Water. Just as Arthur closed the portal to the alien world causing the problem, Coram Wrath was released from his cell. After the events of the Aquamarines, Arthur and Mera return to Atlantis to find that something is wrong. The sea is too quiet, like all life is mute. As the two make their way to the throne room, they find that it is empty as well. But Arthur tells Mera to stay close. He doesn't think that they are alone. The water begins to shift and Arthur sees the Atlantean warriors all appear out of their cloaking fields, being led by Coram Wrath. Mera shouts, "What is it, the terrorists? The deluge? Are the traitors free? The king had you all locked in the jail cells to rot." Eurocell fires a net at Mera, telling her that he is not their king. And as Arthur struggles with Wrath, he asks, "What is this, a coup? Or is it just a plain old murder attempt?" Wrath says it's hard to seize power from a man who does not wield it. Arthur manages to push Wrath back, yelling, "Fine! Just murder me then. I've had enough of these extremist actions. Wrath pushes back, asking, really? But you're never here. You're too busy with your surface interests and your mouth breather friends. Mara breaks free from the net, telling Arthur that there is no talking to this man. A king does not need to justify his policies to an enemy of the state. But as the two go back and forth, Arthur knocks Wrath into the royal halls, telling him, there is no way that you could hope to beat me. Wrath picks himself back up, telling him, I doubt anyone in Atlantis is a match for you or this Abelian woman. But are you a match for Atlantis? Just as Mara asks what is he saying, Elder Liat tells her that what Wrath is saying is that his warriors were released by their authority. Meanwhile, down in the jail cell, Volko floats in his cell, stating that it's been daybreak since the release. Are they free to go? And Kreen says that he's not so sure. He's been here for 8 years. The outside scares him. All that open water. What if this is just a test? Volko tells him that King Arthur would never have set these doors open whilst they lay locked within. However, there is none more loyal to King Arthur than he. For the vault to be flung open, danger faces their city. Over in the audience hall with the Council of Elders, Liat tells Arthur that the council wants peace and security for their nation. Yet every day he seeks to draw them ever closer to their ancient enemy. Arthur shouts that the surface is not their enemies. Atlantis is doomed if it remains in blind isolation. The surface fears us. They fear our technology, power, and strangeness. Atlantis was once the foremost culture on Earth. It sank and detached itself and fell into a dark age. Atlantis deserves to take its place in the world once more, to be a part of the human race and Liat stops him, asking, is that what Atlantis wants? The surface has their wars, their poverty, the corrosion of culture. The people of Atlantis see these progressive ways as a blight to be avoided. Arthur tries to say that a king must make painful decisions, but Liat asks, what kind of king have you been? All you've done is brought us close to the end war with the American nation. Mara shouts that she can't believe any of this. Arthur is their king, the king, and they would challenge him? He has fought and risked his life for Atlantis. Wrath tells her that they have a great king, a king who put Atlantis first. Orm, out of respect for his elder brother, gave up his throne for Arthur. Mara turns to Reverend Mother Krita, looking for support, but Krita asks, when has Arthur ever needed their help? Though she thinks that Arthur is not an evil man, nor a thoughtless one, he races them ahead and drives the people to where they do not want to go. Even though he managed to stop a war, the surface now sees Atlantis as surrendering. And now, with the enemies surrounding them, all that it has done is made them look weaker. Krita then walks before the council and says that the king gave his word to his people, and the king's word is bond. It is law, and for that he must stand down. Mara tries to hold Arthur back as he tries reaching for Wrath, shouting, for this man? He's the king that you all want? And Liat tells him Orm is gone. The House of Atlan has ended. Wrath represents the traditions that Atlantis values. But while Arthur and Wrath argue up in the balcony, Tula asks Merc, how can he just stand there? And Merc tells her that he serves Atlantis. Yes, he has come to admire Arthur Curry, despite every step that he has taken. But he is the commander of the Drift. He serves the king, whoever that may be. Later, in Arthur's chambers, Arthur looks out of the ocean, stating that he knew it would be hard to drag Atlantis out of the Dark Ages. However, he is king, and he will fight for his throne to prove it. After more time passes, with Arthur imprisoned, Mara asks if he remains that determined to fight this. Arthur asks where is Tula, and Mara says that she is already gone, broke her shackles, and fled. They could flee too, they could leave! He could just be Aquaman and Mara! Arthur and Mara. Arthur tells her that he can't. He can understand her anger, but she is not nearly as angry as he thought. Mara says that she does hate this, but this could be a chance for them, a new beginning. They have lives beyond this, a home in Amnesty Bay, one that she is quite fond of. He has his role as Aquaman. The surface at least needs him. They can be free of these responsibilities, of these backward traditions of a culture trapped in the past. They can be together like they've always wanted. Isn't this their chance for happiness at last? And Arthur asks, so? You just want to go to Amnesty Bay? And Mara says, yes, now, we can go, marry according to surface custom, and live and love. You once asked me to be your wife. Why not come and live with me in that world? And as Arthur stands there, he doesn't answer. And after a few moments of silence, Mara leaves, telling him, I'll be at the lighthouse. Later at the Great Hall of Atlantis, Elder Liat calls a meeting for those of Atlantis to announce their decision. They have weighed and debated on this grave matter. They have considered his worthiness to be a ruler of this nation. Does the king wish to address his chamber before they deliver their ruling? Arthur tells everyone that he urges them not to seek his removal. He is the king that their nation needs. He has done nothing but serve Atlantis, and he has fought for peace. Unless Atlantis engages with the surface nations and gains recognition as a vital power, then it will be lost. Liat says that they can see that he has not changed his position. Duly noted. Arthur, House of Atlan, the council has concluded that you are leading Atlantis down a dangerous path, a path which the people choose not to follow, and we anoint Wrath as our monarch. Liat then stands asking Arthur, do you abide by our decision or will you fight against it? He looks at him and he asks, who the hell do you think I am? I am the king here! The moment Arthur moves, the Atlantean guards all grab a hold of him, and Merc tells him, for Neptune's sake, just submit! Don't make them! But before Merc can finish, Arthur breaks free to escape, and Leot continues with the ceremony. He places the crown upon Kormrath's head, and he says that the House of Atlan has ended. The House of Wrath now rises. Wrath stands, stating to summon the Silent School. For his first act to safeguard their nation, he will isolate it from the surface enemies. Magisters, release the crown of thorns from the silent armories. Raise it to uncurl and protect our state. At that moment, the thorns begin to grow from the ground surrounding Atlantis. Over in Amnesty Bay, Tula asks, what do they do? Do they just wait? And Mara stands on the shore, stating that he will come. She knows that he is stubborn, which is a quality that she has come to love most about him. He will rage at the elders, he will tell them in unflinching terms what fools they are being. And that will be his last act as a king. As the two talk, there's a loud booming sound, and a pillar of purple light appears over where Atlantis sits. Back in the city, Arthur swims up where the thorns are getting ready to meet, and as Mara rushes down to try and help him, he reaches out, and Merc cuts into Arthur, telling him, I have no pleasure in this business. Mara screams for Arthur as she tries to fight through the thorns, but all she can do is watch as Arthur's body sinks. Now you're probably wondering what happens next in the storyline. Well, that is the arc that is happening right now in Aquaman, and I will bring it to you in a few months when it concludes, but you should definitely check it out as the artwork is just phenomenal and the story is incredible. Now, don't forget to check out the Justice League storylines, don't forget to check out the other Batman storylines and other members of the DC Universe, and you know what? Me and Houston just realized this. His name is King Arthur Curry. He is King Arthur. When I said it in the intro, that's when it clicked that he is King Arthur of Atlantis. Mind blown, everyone! Check out the Aquaman playlist right here and the DC Rebirth one right over here. Welcome to the Complete Story series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read them dramatically back to you, adding in some music and some voices for the characters to create more of a motion comic, to allow you to experience it instead of just kind of sitting there with it. Comic books are a beautiful medium, and just there's different ways to experience them and understand more about your favorite characters. And this channel right here, Comic Storian, we like to go over a lot of pop culture, from movies to video games to comic books, allowing you to have a greater understanding of the pop culture that is currently taken over the mainstream media. So with the Aquaman movie coming out, we're going to be giving you a lot of Aquaman storylines. And recently, in Aquaman Rebirth, starting with issue 25, they started up a storyline basically called Underworld, right here. And in this storyline, Aquaman's going to go through one of the greatest journeys of his life. And it's going to conclude after about 15-something issues. So this is part 1. If you enjoy it, please consider subscribing. That will allow you to see our next videos when they come out, and you can follow this whole epic journey as we cover it for the entire weekend. Enjoy. We last left off with Aquaman. He had seemingly been murdered by Merc. I say seemingly, because things are not always as they seem. The Crown of Thorns has isolated Atlantis from the rest of the world. Wrath takes his place on the royal throne and calls on Atlantis' most trusted advisors to gather. He tells them that his name is Kormrath of the House of Wrath, King of Atlantis, and his word is law. He wants that fact to be made clear to all of the royal court. He will not be weak like the prior king. That half-breed had too much of the surface in his blood. Atlantis was once the greatest and most advanced culture in the planet, and they shall be it again. Restoring their nation will not be accomplished in a single day. Drift Commander Ursel smiles, stating that at least they have made a good beginning, thanks to the diligence of Commander Merc and the Royal Guard. Wrath then tells Elder Leot that they must clean house and rebuild. Those sympathetic to the old king must be rooted out, along with those that are not true Atlanteans. Those that have said to have had mutations. Ursel steps forward, stating that such undesirables will be found. The Drift hunts for them systematically. Leo brings up a screen stating that the Ninth Tribe, in particular, is a nest of undesirables. Unlawful artifacts are common in those streets, though he knows that the district is not especially dear to the king's heart. Wrath takes off his helmet, stating that he was born and bred there, but rest assured, he has eyes and ears in that zone. The Ninth Tribe is literally the lowest quarter of the city-state. The people of the Ninth Tribe refer to themselves as Hadaline, the word for the organisms of the sunless zone that live off the organic matter sinking from above. The word began as a slur, but now they say it with pride. The Hadalines spend their time repairing the damage done during the last attack on Atlantis, and among them is a nameless man working tirelessly as one of them. No one talks to him, for he knows no one. No friends or acquaintances, just another illiterate who has come to the Ninth for work. The Ninth Tribe is a sanctuary for those undesirables, but because it is a place where the sun doesn't touch, the crime lords typically have their gangs patrolling the streets. As one of the enforcers swims by, he notices the recluse of a man in the shadows and he calls to him asking, "Why does he hide?" The man says because the light hurts his eyes, and the hooded enforcer then asks, "Do you have any coins or trinkets of value, old things from before the sinking?" The man tells him that he has nothing, and the enforcer calls him worthless. "I will gut you where you stand, but your face seems so very familiar." As the light is cast onto the man, he is revealed to be Arthur Curry. However, Arthur tells the enforcer that his name is Orin. The enforcer pulls out his weapon, stating that he doesn't like the look of him, but before he can live up to his promise, another enforcer calls out to him that he got one. Arthur watches as the enforcer puts away his weapon and swims off. It wasn't him that they were looking for, not this time. And why should they? Arthur Curry, aka Aquaman, has been dead for weeks. Meanwhile, at the lighthouse at Amnesty Bay, Tula tells the sulking Mara that she needs to eat something. She doesn't eat, she doesn't sleep, she doesn't even speak. What happened to Arthur was awful. She watched him die, but she must live on. Mara doesn't respond, and Tula grabs her, telling her to please talk. "We're friends, right? I have to help you." Back down in the Ninth, though, the enforcers from before surround a man as he yells that they can tell Crush that he has the payment. The hooded enforcer says sadly it's too late for them. Crush wants to make them an example. But just before the enforcers can strike the man down, hundreds of fish swim around the man. The fish begin to attack the enforcers, slamming their bodies into the cavern walls, and they make a makeshift cavern. The former royal Elder Volko, who also happens to be down there, swims out asking, "What the devil is going on?" The man from before says that it's the ghost of the dead king coming back to protect them. He is the Aquaman! And also at this time at the royal court, Reverend Mother Sita tells Wrath that their concern is magic. He has encircled their nation with a crown of thrones, a shield of defensive sorcery that has not been used in thousands of years. He has liberated other instruments from the arsenals of the Silent School and sanctioned them for use, things that their ancestors shut away in the vaults for a good reason. And Wrath asks, "Are you questioning me?" Seta says that they of the Widowhood merely offer their counsel. The Widowhood only exists to safeguard the welfare of Atlantis. In the past weeks of becoming king, he has armed himself with more magic from the Silent School than any previous monarch has done in their entire reign, including Orm. Wrath stands up telling her the devices are perfectly safe when employed with due caution. Isn't that right, Magister Loke? Loke quietly says with due caution, yes, but... Wrath stops him, stating, "See? Even the master of the Silent School says so. I am simply making you safe. Atlantis has the technology, the magic, and the will to remain secure against any aggressor." Wrath uses a magical weapon and destroys a statue, shouting that he will destroy any enemy that comes to their gates, or any enemy who threatens from within. A short while back at the Ninth Tribe, the hooded enforcer from before reports to Crush that they were attacked by the Aquaman. Crush says, "The Aquaman? I thought that he was a straight tail. Get the boys together, there's a vigilante in the Ninth. Well, we're going to be hunting him. But I will not have the good King Wrath finding fault with our agreement." As word of the Aquaman travels through Atlantis, it falls in the ears of the royal court, and Wrath asks, "Do you think this man is Arthur?" Ursel tells him no, Arthur is dead. "Isn't that right, Merc?" Merc holds out his arm, stating that he put the blade through Arthur himself. He dumped the body in an unmarked grave in the wastes. His trident was put back into the treasury. King Arthur is dead. Wrath then says, "Regardless, I will not stand for this. It would seem that my partners in the Ninth cannot be trusted to watch over the zone. Commander Ursel, mobilize the drift. The Ninth Tribe will be purged." Later in the night, the drift surrounds some of the mutants, calling out that they must rid Atlantis of the unclean rats. And just as one grabs a woman with long white hair, her arms begin to form scales, and she swipes, cutting the soldier's wrist. The other soldiers talk amongst themselves, asking if they saw that. A mutation. The tainted bloods are forbidden within the kingdom. The woman stands in front of the other dwellers as those dwellers shout that this is their home. They have lived here for generations and they are just trying to survive. The soldier tells the man to shut up. The king says that if they are found, they must be put down. Sanction them all! Before the soldiers could do anything, though, the shadow of Arthur appears behind them. Arthur swims by, grabbing the men, knocking them into each other one by one. The white-haired woman watches, and as another soldier is ready to attack, she strikes, knocking him out. Arthur tells everyone to scatter. Drift reinforcements will be here soon. The white-haired woman stays, but as Arthur tries to tell her to go, she points at her throat. She motions to herself, then Arthur asks, "Do you want me to come with you?" The woman folds her arms and Arthur sighs. For God's sake! He grabs the woman by the arm and he swims off, stating that she will do exactly what he tells her. Can't you talk? What is your name? Back on the surface, Tula's phone rings, and as she picks it up, she begins to hear someone frantically trying to talk. She tells that person to calm down as she holds the phone over to Mara so that she can hear. Volko shouts that, yes, it's that Volko, and I need to speak to Lady Mara. We're in the silent school and we don't have much time before we're found. Listen to me, Arthur is But before he could finish, the line goes dead. Mara's eyes widen as she stands up, grabbing the crown, stating that he's alive. She will drag the whole kingdom to the surface if she has to. No one is getting between them ever again. Back in the ninth, Arthur and the white-haired woman fight their way through the waves of drift soldiers, but then the woman motions with her hands and covers her eyes. Arthur asks, what, cover my? The woman frowns at him as if telling him to hurry, and Arthur sighs, fine. Okay. Just then the woman's body begins to glow, and with a bright flash, she stuns everyone. That was a bioluminescent flash. It would seem that this woman has talents of her own. The next wave of soldiers swim through in pursuit, but then everyone stops when they hear several loud booming sounds. One of the soldiers shouts to the others that the city is under attack. Mobilized to outer defenses. The thunderous booming is coming from none other than Mara, as she attempts to break down the crown of thorns. Over in the royal court, Wrath watches Mara attacking, and he asks Loke if that's even possible for Mara to be able to break through this thing. Loke tells him that the crown of thorns is the strongest and oldest enchantment kept by the silent school. Nothing on earth could break it. Wrath laughs, stating, let me watch with relish then as she exhausts herself with this futile tantrum. However, the question that we should be asking is, why is she attacking now? Meanwhile, over in the penitentiary vault, Volko finds himself there once again. Kinda miss this place. What is that noise though? Merc shocks him, telling him to forget it. Answer his questions. Who was he trying to contact outside when they found him? Did he trigger Lady Mara's assault? Volko begins to breathe heavy as we see that he's being interrogated by Commander Merc. You're guilty of regicide and a traitor to the nation, Merc. You swore to protect King Arthur, but instead you stabbed him in the back like a coward for all of Atlantis to see. Go ahead and use those same arcane toys that the Silent School has given you to torture me, but I will say precisely nothing. Arthur and the woman wait until the coast is clear, and Arthur asks if there's somewhere that they can go. Can she talk? The woman points to Arthur as if asking, who is he? And Arthur says, I already told you once, my name is Orion, a nobody. Look, can you show me? But just then the woman swims off and Arthur asks, is that a yes? A short while later, she leads him to the dark part of the ninth and creates a pulsing glow with her hand. A voice then asks who goes there, and a slab of rock is pushed aside as a man leans out shouting, Dolphin! Arthur follows the woman inside asking, so your name is Dolphin. The man who opened up the way yells, do not bring outsiders in here, God's below, who are you pretending to be? Arthur tells him, no one. And the man says, like hell, look at what you're wearing. You're the one everyone's talking about, aren't you? The Aquaman. Well, Dolphin wouldn't have brought you here if she didn't trust you. What are you gonna do? Save the taint bloods from the horror of King Wrath? Arthur tells him it's gonna take more than the likes of me to save Atlantis. While Mara on the outside is continuing her assault on the crown of thorns, Volko yells from his cell asking, that's her, isn't it? She won't stop, you know. Are you even listening, guard? Seto walks into the cell, stating that the guard is indisposed at the moment. Volko says that he's honored to have the widowhood come to death row to gloat at his demise. She tells him that he was an elder. They didn't see eye to eye. He was always a meddler, a kingmaker, a king-breaker, toying with the destiny of Atlantis for personal gains. Volko scoffs. Oh, I'm sure the widowhood would have surely been above all of that. Seta tells him, either way, Mara of Zebel will not break the crown of thorns. The widowhood currently finds itself in opposition with Coram Wrath's regime. We are now in need of a seasoned manipulator. As Seto walks away, Volko then asks, what are you trying to say? As Seta tells him, you will find that your cell door is unlocked. For now, an enemy of my enemy is my friend. Back at Dolphin's hideout, Arthur asks the mutants, so you're all undesirables? One of the men then says it's because they're poor, really. Another says it's because of their mutation. You don't sink a race of men into the sea and expect that not to change them. That's what the sea does. Bioadaptions have been going on for centuries. The other from before then says that Wrath doesn't like their kind. They aren't pure Atlanteans. Which is funny, the mutations have gotten worse since he became king. But just then, Dolphin looks back and everyone asks what is going on. Crush's mage, Cadaver, looks at everyone and creates a coral reef from his arm and strikes one of Dolphin's friends. Arthur then charges at Cadaver and hits him, thinking that this mage's specialty seems to be coral form manipulation. It's a craft that the Artisan Guild uses to grow structures, but this one's turned it into a lethal weapon. Dolphin then swims in, hitting him, but Cadaver creates more coral and punches her back. Arthur gut punches Cadaver, shouting for him to leave her alone. And while Arthur is close, Cadaver grabs him by the head and begins to shock him. But before Cadaver could kill him, Crush tells him to wait. They can't kill the Hotline. If that's who they think it is, the good king will kneel before Crush. Before long, Arthur opens up his eyes and he sees Crush standing over him, and Crush tells him, "Hey there, talk to me for a bit." Arthur looks around the cave asking where are they, and Crush tells him that this is his lair down a nameless backstreet in the Ninth Tride. "Welcome, Aquaman." Arthur says that he doesn't feel very welcomed, and Crush says that he wouldn't think so. He did brutalize some of his followers. Arthur then grabs onto the coral to try and break it, but it shocks him, and Crush tells him, "Yeah, don't do that." As Arthur lets go, he asks where's Dolphin, and Crush motions to the window, stating that she is safe for now. "More useful alive." Arthur shouts, "You're just some criminal." And Crush says, "Well, life's not fair sometimes. You gotta get to the top to survive down here." Arthur asks, "Is that so?" "I think you reign down here because Wrath allows it. The drift didn't touch you." "How does that work? You keep the peace here and Wrath leaves you alone?" "Wrath wants mutants purged, but he wants you to do the dirty work." "There's a word for that. It's called a collaborator." "You do know that Wrath will come for you, right?" Crush smiles, telling him, "There's insurance for that. The old king isn't really dead. Well, that would cause some problems, wouldn't it? So let us establish who you really are." Arthur tells him that he won't talk, and Crush laughs. "Oh, but you'll let the girl die, right? Arthur Curry of the House of Atlan better speak up. The girl, she isn't alone in there." Over in Atlantis, Merc leads the drift in search of Vulko, but as the patrol passes by, Vulko mutters to himself, "What did Seta want me to do exactly? I'm being hunted. How am I supposed to get out of the palace?" A hand reaches out and a female voice tells him that Seta expects him to use his wits. But as the hand touches Vulko, he shouts, "Neptune's balls, who are you?" The woman tells him that her name is Undyne. Mother Seta sent her to watch his back, act as a go-between, assist him with general stuff. Vulko asks, "Are you with the widowhood? You really don't look the part." And Undyne looks away, stating that she was disgraced. Vulko asks, "Disgraced? That's my favorite kind of sister." And Undyne asks, "Was that an innuendo? I'm not going to like you, am I?" As Vulko goes to respond, she covers his mouth and two drift soldiers float by. Undyne then stabs one in the back and takes his gun, shooting the other. Vulko shouts, "You're on the widowhood! You just killed!" And Undyne says, "How do you think I got disgraced? Now let's get to work. We need to get into the treasury." Meanwhile, over at the Titan's Tower in Manhattan, Nightwing says that it's kind of unexpected. Mara tells him that she apologizes for visiting without warning, but she needs to speak with Garth privately. The two walk off and Mara says that surely he's heard the news. Garth tells her that indeed he has. Arthur is disposed, or worse. A new king, Wrath, the terrorist who led the deluge, now sits on the throne. To make matters worse, Atlantis has cut itself off from the world, but how are you? Mara sighs, stating that she's coping, exiled all over again. She understands that the surface superheroes cannot attack, which is why she's come to him. Arthur lives, but she can't get to him. Atlantis is sealed inside of a magical barrier called the Crown of Thorns, an old dark secret of the Silent School. And Garth then says, "Why are you here?" Mara says because he was a student of the Silent School once. He says that he renounced the craft of magic. What skills he possesses he'll never use again. Please don't ask him to do this. She places her hand on his shoulder, telling him that he's the only person in the world who understands the workings of Atlantean magic. The only person that she can turn to. Please help her get through that barrier. Back down below in the Ninth Tride, Crush tells Arthur that he better hurry or the Gulfer will have a nice little snack. Arthur looks at Dolphin as she huddles back, but just before the Gulfer can bite down, killing Dolphin, it stops. Crush says, "There it is, an admission without even uttering a word. Aqua telepathic control, a unique trait to Arthur Curry. Even though you were a worthless king, you have the power to at least protect us from just being here." Arthur shouts that he will show them power, and just then the Gulfer breaks free and attacks Crush's men. Arthur calls to Dolphin to follow, but Dolphin glares at him. He asks, "What? I had to save you. Yes, even if it did mean showing them the truth." But while the two escape, Crush yells to Cadaver to bring them back. Up ahead, Arthur punches through one of the guards and asks Dolphin if she can do that bioluminescent flash again. She shrugs her shoulders and Arthur says, "No? Do you need more time to recharge? Guess it's up to me then." Over at the Tower of Widowhood, one of the sisters tells Seta that a message came through from Agent Undyne. Volko is safe and they plan to penetrate the royal treasury. Volko claims that King Arthur is also still alive. Seta says that would suit perfectly, actually, Arthur versus Wrath. That would split Atlantis and lead to a civil war, no doubt. And when they've killed each other, the Widowhood can emerge to solve the city's wounds and save the people by appointing a new monarch. The Sisterhood asks, who would they appoint? Seta tells her, the only viable choice, Mara of Zebel, will become the ruler of Atlantis.
And there you have it, part 1 of Aquaman Underworld. Now, we're bringing you part 2 very, very soon. Following that, try and remember this off the top of my head, will be Down with the Crown. Following that will be Mara's side story. Following that will be Kingslayer. All of this is going to happen over the next week, so if you enjoy Aquaman, you've always wanted to see how cool he can be, consider subscribing to our channel, giving this video a like, and letting me know in the comments down below what you think of this version of Aquaman. Because this storyline is epic, and I loved that goddamn movie, so I hope you do as well. Don't forget, you can find more of us over at twitch.tv/EligibleMonster, where every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday, we film various podcasts for your enjoyment. And those podcasts then get uploaded to our Patreon, patreon.com/comicstorian, where for only $1, you get access to all of them. Thank you so much for enjoying this video, and I'll see you next time right here.
Well, I'm enjoying it, guys. I don't know about you. We've got a bit of a mishmash. This isn't the playlist
Welcome
as it
to the
was.
Complete Story Series,
We're just sort of going
where
through
we
them
take
now.
trade paperbacks and single issues and we break them down.
I noticed I have heard these a lot, a couple times before. So
Then
I'm going to see if I can find something else.
Adding in voices, some music. I try to amp it up and make it into a motion comic for you to enjoy. And the purpose of this series is to allow you to understand what is going on in comic books right now, to know what is going on in TV shows, to know what is going on in movies, so that you can jump in and be caught up to date, so you know what is going on and go to your local comic book store or your local video game store and buy the next thing in the series and know what is happening. Today, we're going to be doing part 2 of Underworld, which is one of my favorite recent Aquaman storylines, building up to a big final battle.
So we'll just keep
yes,
going.
that's right. If you missed the first episode, Aquaman was assumed dead, and he was at the bottom, deep reaches of Atlantis, while Mara was locked out of the city. Aquaman is now trying to find a reason to take down Wrath, and he's going to find some allies in some unlikely places.
Welcome back to the Aquaman Underworld storyline. When we last left off, the world presumed Aquaman dead, and Mara was locked out of Atlantis by the Crown of Thorns spell. While she had gone to the Teen Titans to get a hold of Garth to help her out, Aquaman was still trying to figure out what he was going to do now that everyone assumed that he was dead. He was going to leave Atlantis to its own problems, with the new King Wrath there, but when you're Aquaman and you're Arthur Curry, trouble just seems to find you. One of the gang leaders in the Ninth Triad, Crush, discovered that Aquaman had survived and planned on using Aquaman as a prisoner to get what he wanted from King Wrath. But Aquaman Arthur Curry had managed to get away, and now Cadaver, one of Crush's goons, is chasing him. Back in the Ninth Triad, Cadaver creates a dozen coral reef shards and begins to shoot them, and Arthur swims by grabbing Dolphin and tells her to flee. Arthur then uses his aqua telepathic abilities to summon a swarm of fish to surround Cadaver. But before they could fully engulf him, Cadaver creates a coral reef web and pushes them back. However, in doing so, he created a direct path to himself, and Arthur shoots in, punching him into the wall. Cadaver pulls himself out, firing a large reef and slamming Arthur into the opposite wall. Arthur fights back, breaking the first reef, but Cadaver just creates another, pinning him down. As Arthur struggles to free himself, he notices Cadaver creating a hooked sword out of the reef. Old tyrants of Atlantis would use this to cut the hamstrings and Achilles tendons of their enemies, leaving them crippled and helpless. Meanwhile, just outside of Atlantis, Garth is looking at the barrier surrounding the city and he asks, "Is this the Crown of Thorns?" Mara says that she knows that he has renounced magic, but Garth stops her, stating that he was once a pupil of the Silent School, but he has not forgotten the fundamentals. Magic is a seductive, corrupting power. He chose a different life and he rejected its ways, but this is bigger than him. And this is for the fate of Atlantis and Arthur. Garth begins to gather his power, stating that he will do the best that he can. But back with Arthur, Cadaver gets ready to swing when suddenly Dolphin grabs him from behind, placing her hands over his eyes. Before he has a chance to react, she releases a concentrated flash into his eyes. Arthur breaks free, cracking Cadaver in the face. Arthur then tells Dolphin that he told her to leave. "Why do you keep sticking around with me?" Dolphin smiles and swims off, with Arthur asking, "Oh, now you're leaving?" Over in the throne room, Wrath watches on a screen with Garth standing outside of the kingdom, and he asks, "She at it again?" He then asks Loke, "What kind of power are we talking? Do they have enough to bring down the crown of thorns?" Loke tells him, "Well, Garth was a potent student. There is a remote chance." Wrath stops him, stating that they will go out there and stop them then. The Magisters can pass through the barrier. Just go out there and make sure that that remote chance becomes 0. Meanwhile, elsewhere at the 9th Tride, Arthur and Dolphin finally stop running, with Arthur stating that he has an idea why she's following him. She knows who he is, or at least who he was. She has taken him to different places to show him what it's truly like down here in the underworld. You expect me to save you, don't you? Is that what you had in mind? That I'm going to rise up against the tyrant and reclaim the throne to protect the innocent and the downtrodden? However, it wasn't Quorum Wrath that disposed of me. It was Atlantis itself. I never wanted to be king, and when the duty fell to me, I did my best. But that chance was too much for Atlantis. I was cast out and replaced by a new king with an even more traditional outlook. I had no choice but to leave, but they wouldn't even let me do that. I tried to save the city, but all I could do was help people one by one. I failed at being a king. My name is Orin now, the Aquaman. I will help these people, but I am not the man who will lead a revolt against Wrath. It would be wrong for you to pin your hopes on me. Someone else will save Atlantis." Back outside of the Crown of Thorns, Mara calls to Garth, and he tells her that he's kinda concentrating here. Just then, Loke calls out to Mara and Garth, telling them, "In the name of King Wrath, you are declared traitors to Atlantis. Your lives are now forfeit." Garth yells at Mara to get behind him, but as she does, Garth releases an energy field, knocking the Magisters back. He quickly grabs Mara by the hand, stating that they need to hurry, that won't buy them much time. Loke and his Magisters are high adepts of the Silent School. They are magicians of profound ability. Mara then pulls back, shouting, "No! We have to fight! Arthur is trapped behind that barrier, and we have to find a way through." But while Garth fends the Magisters back, Loke tells him that he spent far too long with these costume-clad surface fools that he calls friends. "You are too much like the false king. You followed Arthur blindly like a pet. You have forgotten the values of Atlantis." Garth rips an amulet off of one of the Magisters, stating that he has not forgotten the Silent School, and I have not forgotten what you did to Sira. Back with Arthur, though, Dolphin begins to draw symbols with her lights. Arthur asks if this is supposed to cheer him up. "I know what that is. That's Superman." Dolphin continues drawing the rest of the Justice League, and with them she draws Aquaman's symbol. He smiles, stating that he sees. Because he stands with them, that he's a hero too? Maybe. Sometimes. But you're not looking at me to be a hero, you're looking at me to be a king. Dolphin then draws a little crown over Superman's symbol. And Arthur says, "No, Superman is not a king." Dolphin covers the crown, and Arthur tells her, "Superman is just a man who saves people. They all do. You don't expect them to rule afterwards, though." Dolphin smiles and motions to him, and Arthur laughs. He says, "For someone who can't speak, you sure can say a lot." Back outside of Atlantis, Loke shouts to the Magisters to level the earth and drive them out into the open. But a bit away, Mara asks, who exactly was Sira? Garth looks away, stating that she was a girl that he knew. At the Silent School, they were the most gifted students. Mara then says that he loved her, and Garth tells her, yes, he did. Loke and the others pushed them both really hard. They wanted them to master the most dangerous and forbidden of the silent crafts. He made a mistake in spell work one day, a particularly lethal one. And Sira died. Mara begins to get back up, stating that they need to get back to the surface. It was wrong of her to. Garth holds out the amulet, stating that he took this from one of the Magisters. Take it to get into Atlantis while he draws the Magisters away. However, the amulet is damaged. It may get you in, but it may also...
Okay, I'm going to pause that bit there a second, guys, and see what time we've got on the thing. We're at an hour and a half. My goodness. So, I'm not going to end it here. I am going to probably do some more now. I've done pretty much all I want to do with the shading and the fur, because I think if I put any more now, it's just going to get really fuzzy and convoluted and just won't look nice. It'll just look like I've slapped a load on there. So I'll leave it as it is for now. Hopefully you like this little dude up here, but this is my favourite part of it, the neck and the face. I might actually, thinking about it, probably be a good idea to put a bit of shade. Put a bit of shading there as well. So I'll do that quickly. No, I'll put that in a yellow. Where's the yellow? Darker shade of yellow. To make it a bit smaller and actually use the tool. It's a spray tool, but it works really well for shading, as you've noticed, or hopefully you've noticed. Get rid of some of that. Anyway, I might turn that down actually. But again, guys, if you want this app for yourself, you can do. It's completely free. All you got to do is search it on the internet, download it on your PC. This will work with a 32-bit PC, and it will work with anything above. It works a lot better if you are using something above 32% CPU. I'm using a 32, but if you want full effect and like no bugging out or anything like that, it's best to have obviously a stronger computer, such as a 64-bit CPU and things like that. But seem to have made it work for myself, and yeah, hopefully you'll agree with me there. I'm just putting in a few bits of shading where I think it needs it, just to sort of accentuate that it's this sort of thing. Give that a little bit there, and then we'll make that a little bit larger. I think a little bit larger than that. That'll do. I don't want to put too much shading on the beak too much. I'd still want it to look like a beak, but I want it to look like he's coming out of the water there. This one is going to get its own backlighting here, and the lighting is going to come from this thing here, which I still need to put some wiggle lines around it. But I think instead of doing wiggle lines, I'm going to do like a spray, not a spray, a C. I've actually completely forgot that I put the wording in there, but that doesn't make any difference. I can put it in afterwards. And yeah, I'm gonna do some seaside spray now, coming off the feet, because he's diving. He's not sticking on top of the water. He's actually underneath. Tails are out of the water and his body's under the water. So maybe I should really put a bit of shading. Right, I'm gonna have to put the shading in under here, like that, I think. So let's get a bright color. We'll turn it right down. Do need to do the light for this. I wonder if I should do that first or afterwards. Let's color pick that a second so I get the right color, and then we'll use one of these tools here with a texture. Which one was I used? That one, was it? That one would give a good fur. Alright, so we'll have use the same colour with different hues now. Give this like a over the top sort of splashy look here across the line. Why is that not covering that up? Maybe if I turn it up a bit. There we go. Right, so we got the top of the sea here. Again, this is only the base layer. You always do your base layer first, and then you work from there. Oh, I really like these tools. I can't do any of this that easily when I'm gonna have to put some over the top of them as well, like this, so you can see the difference between, if I minimize this a little bit. So he's actually under the water, so his feet are sticking out, but the rest of his leg and also his tail is underneath. I'm going to make this a little bit larger for here. Where's that not getting covered up? I'll do that then instead. Still not getting covered up. Where's that? Oh, okay, never mind. Well, okay, we'll have the base layer here. It's underneath and over the top. Let's go back underneath them. I think. Oh, what am I doing? Let's go here. Get some more here. I did in the paper version. I did go over the top of it like that. With like that. There we go. Spraying out. As if he's diving in. Again, it's only. Maybe I should do a bit of spray here as well. Like that. His whole body sort of goes in the water, gives it a bit of spray. Maybe around. I need to actually cover this neck piece up as well. So let's go up here. No, let's go here. Go colour this in. So I coloured all that neck in for nothing, really. We'll go like that. Oh, my son's in the background. He's playing Steep still. Alright, that's still not light enough. There we go, that's what I want. I'm going to go right on top now, because that's bugging me that I can't cover that up. And there we go, that's where his tail's coming out. That's where his feet are coming out. Like so. Well, I say his feet are coming out, they're actually going in. Give this a little bit of a bubbly spray over. Like so. I love these tools, man. Am I underneath? Oh, I need to be underneath again to do that. Nope, that's not underneath. Although I could probably keep that there. Underneath, in the background. Give this a good old bit of spray here. Make it look like it's really coming out of the water. Like so. I'll give it a couple of extension lines as well. Underneath like that. For this one, he's not bursting out, but he will get a bit of spray. That is a really, really light blue, so let's change that a little bit and see if we can get that to a bit of a darker blue, so it shows up a bit better. I'll colour that in a minute. So all we need for sky, what are you saying there, mate? Okay. All we need for sky is there we go. There we go. They're showing up a bit better now. Okay, right. So now we can. The darker you go, the better it looks. I think. Maybe a bit more darker behind him, like that. Yeah, that looks right to me. Maybe on the edges, lighten that up. Going this way. Because I will be doing this here as well. Go on top of here and then have that like so. There is going to be a light beam coming out of that, so actually I like that. I like the way that's worked out. We got a little bit smaller, so I can beam it. Okay, so that's make that as big as it was. Come out from here and go. Bonjour. 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 Okay, I like that. That looks alright.
That's tough to explain.
Good job I wasn't talking to you, Alexa. Shut up. Yeah, so it's going to be a light scene. So that like, again, I don't know if it's a camera or an observational ship, but I like that effect. Patch behind him so he shows up a little bit. Maybe a bit of underlining, very slight underlining here, like that. There you go. So it's still sort of shining up, but not loads, because he is being looked at and watched. Yeah, that's looking good. I like that. Don't put your Mimi music on, please. I'm not in the mood. Please don't put your Mimi music on. If you want to listen to that, put it in your earphones, mate. I don't think anybody else wants to hear that your continuous same song over and over again. Yeah, well, you're going to put that Pie song on, and I'll get copyright for it, so don't. Oh boy! That one. Right. Let's go back textures. And I wonder if that'll work. Yeah, what does that do actually? Ooh, that's exactly what I want. Right, so let's make this a very, very, very light white.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Google, shut up!
Oh, that's grass. That's definitely grass. Let's get rid of that. It's not what I wanted, in fact. I thought it was. What was this one do? If that was actually facing upward, that would be good. But it's not, so I could use it for maybe here. That might work. Along here, like so. Disturbing the water, but not completely getting rid of it. It's kind of okay. Kind of works. I don't want to leave it like that. What's this one do again? Oh, that's what that one does. Right, I don't think we're going to have a good time here. Aha! Works for fur, works for this as well. Okay, we'll turn that up ever so slightly. Get a darker tone over the top. There, that's better. I want to go back to this colour which I was using. And then we'll add a bit of white top of that. Like so. And a little bit here as well. Bit of splashy sploosh. He's not, doesn't need it. I could probably give him a little bit of a around him. I'm gonna have to go over top of, where was I doing the top layer? It doesn't really matter. Right. Yeah, I don't like that. Get rid of all of that. That will happen. That was as good as it was. Right, so let's just keep it here for a minute. Give him a splash. Give this a splish. So he's splashing down. And go crazy. Go back to this one with the white. Give it fluff. Around. Does it look okay? No, I don't really like that. Though if I make it bigger, believe it or not, whoosh, like so, swoosh. Like, maybe not. It does work really well. It did work. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. A bit off the wings as well. Off the wings. Off the sea spray off his flipper here. Coming down. Let's get that in a bit of a darker blue. Let's have to be a darker than that. There we go. Let's show it is water. It's coming off. Dab this here and there. Not a great amount needed. And there you go. There's a splash and sea effect. Again, all used on these textures. There was no way I'd get that as quickly if I was using my own normal. I don't think there's much else I'm going to be needing to add to this, guys. I've got where I wanted to be very quickly on the shading. All it needs now is your opinion, guys. So let me know what you think of this, what you think, how I've used the tools, whether you think I could have changed things. But I'm going to add in the wording now and call it a video. I hopefully can have the wording here. I'm going to have to do it individually, so he's saying make sure I get my good side. So let's have make small writing. How small is that? Go away. How small is that right? Ah, nice. So we can make that a little bit bigger to fit in the bubble. A little bit bigger again. Oh, and again. Try 14. Maybe one more. 16. That probably will do it. So we'll move that with these tools. If I can grab it. It's really small, so it's going to be difficult. God damn it! God damn it! It's too small. Oh, there'll be a penis. I can't even enlarge it. I can't even enlarge it. Oh, bum. Right. Let's try that and see if I can get it in there. Or I'm going to have to write it by hand. I don't mind writing it by hand. Let's get a pencil. Or a pen. Let's rig in. So, right, let's get rid of that now. Remove layer. Right. What is this doing here? It's visible. Make sure I don't know if I'm spelling sure right. I'm dumb. Alexa, how do you spell sure?
Sure is spelled S-U-R-E.
Okay, I was spelling it wrong. S U R E. Make sure you. I do need to say it, Matthew. Can you stop? No, it's not annoying. It's annoying you. It's not annoying anybody else. No one ever says anything. Sorry if you had to hear that, guys, but my son decides that he wants to make decisions for me, and I hate it. You get my good side. Let's have my here. Good. Oh. Good. Side. S-I-D E. Make sure you get my good side. Maybe I should give them a bit of a darker outline so they actually show up. I'll go anywhere really on these. I'll go here. You can't see that writing whatsoever now. Who knew? Maybe if I just do them really, really light. There we go. There we go. That's better. Make them look like a bubble as well. Here, just a touch and a touch. Blobby here, blob, 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 blob. Okay, so make sure you get my good side. I would rather have had that in actual writing, which I tried to do here. I'm going to now write this in it. Okay, so it's what words did I use? I need my book. Where did I put my book?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
Whee!
Slide to a stop. He's playing steep, guys.
Again. Whee! No.
So it's got, make sure you get my good side. Yep, got that one. And Churak. C-H-U-A-K is what I'm going to be putting in. It's a combination of all the animals. Because again, it is an animal which is a whale, a duck, and a putty cat. Gives in capital C-H-U-D. No. H-C-H-U-A. Okay. I'll bold that out. Not that you can see. I don't think you can see this part. More of a mechanical sort of look to it. We're definitely going to have to make that bigger. Right. Okay. That'll do for that. I'll put a bubble around that in a second. But again, I can move it to wherever I want it to be. Okay, right. And now we're going to do outline. Go to pencil or pen, whatever it is. I should just have a black outline. Black outline or white? Looks black looks like. Yeah, I'll use that one. So if it's kind of saying it, but in a mechanical way. I want to fill in these here actually. I don't like these, the way this is written. It's looking a bit too thin. There we go. Just so it shows up a little bit better. I think this is going to need a little bit of something behind, so we'll go here, use all these tools, get that one, and now I need that a bit bigger. We'll go really close. I can fill this in. Nice and simple. Over the top of it, of course. We need to go back over it and go underneath it. I'll minimise that because it seemed a bit bigger than I wanted it to be. Oh my god, I think he's got 4 games going at a time now, looks like. Can you turn your Pokemon Go down, mate, please?
What?
Turn your Pokemon Go down. You don't need a PlayStation on and your phone going at the same time.
It's not what I'm doing.
It sounds like you're on your phone playing with stuff. Can you turn it down, please? Because I'm nearly done and I don't want to be interrupted. Once I'm done, I'm done. We've got another game. We've got another series finished. Okay. Yeah. Maybe a little bit of light in here. Turn that down a bit. In here. What layer am I on? That's not going to make any difference if I put it there or not. I'm going to turn that down. Right down. Just so it shows as if it's coming from here. We're basically going to call... Oh, I know I can use. I completely forgot about this tool here. Which can go over the right over the top of it. So if I go... No, if I stay on that level actually. And then have it coming out way too bright. Alright. Like that. And then it shows like it's coming over the top of it. Is that too much light? No, I don't think it's too much. Love that. So it's nice and bright, shining up. It's basically it's a camera. Okay, I'm going to do some wiggle lines around that now. Very, very lightly in the darker blue. That's still not going to be dark enough. Around about there. We don't want to thin this down. Obviously, do we want wiggle lines in wiggle form? Let's try this for a minute. I'm going to go right underneath again. Yeah, that's not going to work. Or is it? No. What am I looking at? What I want to try and do, I'll just try and do just like that. Zoom down again. Got a few, it's as if it's like moving, like so. I don't like the way they are, but that's what I'm going for. Maybe if I do that way, I can get rid of the ones I don't want then. Do like that. That's really dark, I don't want it like that. Go on, lighten. Right. And we'll get some wiggle lines. But what I'll do is I'll make them circles around. And then I'll delete what I don't want to keep. I'm not going to be able to rub them out. Nope, I'm not going to be able to rub them out because I'm on the wrong layer. So let's get rid of those. Shit. Turn it back up. It's going to have to be on this layer. Is that the right layer though? That's the same layer. Is that the same layer with the right? No, it isn't. Right. Maybe I'll be able to get away with that. Right. You're an idiot. It has to be underneath. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to have to be really annoying and make another layer. You will see my method of my madness in a moment, guys. You will see why I'm doing all this. Hopefully, if it works out the way I want it to. Okay, let's just get the eraser and start erasing stuff I don't want. Turn it right up full. Right. There we have it. my completed last and final Mutant from the Mutant Animal series. And again, thank you very much to the Art Hutch for your request this time over. There have been many requests from Instagram, and guys, if you would like to give me another one for another time, or if you are a fan of this one, then don't forget to hit subscribe, guys. And thank you very much for all your requests. My name has been Blut084, BLUT084, Art and Games, here every single day on YouTube, occasionally on Mixer, but every day and night over on Instagram. Leave your messages over there. Don't forget to follow, hit subscribe, and ding the bell for notifications. Hit my face that's appearing in the middle, or if you would like to check out other videos, click those links and see what I'm all about. I've got VR games, normal games, and a whole load more art. So go and check that out, guys. I do paperwork and I also do digital. Every week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, paper, Thursday and Friday is digital. And occasionally a Saturday and Sunday for VR art. Check it out later, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.